What makes the human mind so intricate and mysterious? How do certain thought patterns shape our behaviors, relationships, and self-perceptions? Imagine feeling an overwhelming urge to be seen as a savior, or perhaps a lingering sense of inadequacy, no matter your achievements. These are not just fleeting emotions, but deeply ingrained mental complexes that can define a person's life. The human psyche is a labyrinth of thoughts, beliefs, and emotional responses, and at its core lies a fascinating range of mental complexes. By delving deep into these psychological phenomena, we can unravel the complexities of our own minds, offering insights that are not only intriguing but essential for navigating the complexities of modern existence. Superman complex: the weight of responsibility. The Superman complex is characterized by an unhealthy sense of responsibility and the belief that others lack the capacity to perform tasks effectively. Individuals with this complex feel a constant need to save or help others, often taking on excessive workloads and responsibilities. This behavior stems from a belief in their unique capability and an underlying fear that without their intervention, things will fall apart. The Superman complex can lead to burnout and stress as individuals overextend themselves in their pursuit to be indispensable. It can also strain relationships, as the constant need to control and manage can be perceived as overbearing by others. Recognizing the Superman complex involves acknowledging the limits of one's abilities and trusting others' capacities to manage and succeed. Peter Pan complex: the reluctance to grow up. The Peter Pan complex refers to an adult who retains an adolescent level of emotional development, characterized by an avoidance of responsibilities and commitments. Named after the fictional character Peter Pan, who never grows up, individuals with this complex prefer a carefree, playful, and often irresponsible lifestyle. They shy away from adult responsibilities, both personal and professional, and may leave important decisions to others. Dependency is a key feature, as these individuals often rely emotionally and financially on others. While not officially recognized as a psychological disorder by institutions like the World Health Organization or listed in the DSM-5, the Peter Pan complex shares significant overlap with narcissistic personality disorder, highlighting issues of self-centeredness and an aversion to maturity. This complex raises important questions about the pressures of adulthood and the societal expectations placed upon individuals to grow up. Adonis complex: obsession with physical perfection. The Adonis complex, also known as muscle dysmorphia or vigorexia, involves an unhealthy obsession with one's physical appearance, particularly muscle mass and body condition. Individuals with this complex often perceive themselves as weak or inadequately muscular, regardless of their actual physical state. This distorted self-image leads to extreme behaviors, including excessive exercise, restrictive dieting, and, in severe cases, the use of anabolic steroids to enhance muscle growth. The Adonis complex primarily affects men, especially those involved in sports or professions where body size is a competitive factor. This complex can lead to social isolation as individuals prioritize their physical training over relationships and other life aspects. The pursuit of an idealized body image, driven by media and cultural standards, has intensified the prevalence of this complex, raising concerns about mental health and the societal pressure to conform to specific physical ideals. God complex: the illusion of omnipotence. A person with a God complex exhibits extreme arrogance and a sense of superiority, believing they are infallible and above others. Individuals with this complex may refuse to admit mistakes, even in the face of evidence, and see their opinions as unquestionably correct. This complex often manifests in individuals with positions of power, such as business leaders, societal figures, or political leaders, where the influence can go unchecked. The God complex is not merely about confidence, it is about an inflated self-image that disregards the perspectives and needs of others, often leading to unethical behavior and decision-making. Recognizing and addressing a God complex involves promoting humility, empathy, and an understanding of one's limitations and the value of others' contributions. Messiah complex: the need to save. The Messiah complex is a behavioral pattern where an individual sees themselves as a savior, a leader, or a messianic figure. This complex is characterized by an intense need to be worshipped, followed, or revered by others. Individuals with a Messiah complex often believe they have a special destiny or a unique mission to save or transform others. This belief can extend to thinking they are an actual Messiah or prophet, destined to save or redeem people through religious or moral endeavors. The Messiah complex can manifest in various contexts, from political and religious leaders to individuals in positions of authority or influence. This complex is more than just a sense of leadership, it is a deep-seated belief in one's extraordinary purpose and the inherent superiority of one's vision or mission. Historical figures, such as certain charismatic leaders, have exhibited traits of this complex, leading to both positive social movements and, in darker scenarios, cult-like followings and societal harm. Jonah complex fear of success. The Jonah complex, named after the biblical prophet Jonah, who fled from his divine mission, is characterized by a fear of success that prevents individuals from reaching their full potential. This fear keeps individuals tied to familiar behavior patterns that limit their growth and achievement. Causes of the Jonah complex include fear of leaving one's comfort zone, anxiety about attracting attention, feelings of unworthiness, and concerns about how success might impact relationships with friends and family. The overwhelming sense of responsibility that comes with success can also be a deterrent, as individuals fear the changes and expectations that success might bring. The Jonah complex highlights a paradox where individuals desire achievement but are simultaneously terrified of the consequences of their success, leading to self-sabotage and unfulfilled potential. Inferiority complex, perpetual self-doubt. The inferiority complex involves persistent feelings of inadequacy and the belief that others are better, more capable, or more valuable. These feelings are not based on rational assessment but are deeply ingrained, leading individuals to feel inferior without objective reason. This complex can cause overcompensation in various ways, such as striving for attention, engaging in excessive competitiveness, or exhibiting aggressive behavior to mask perceived deficiencies. For example, a person who feels inferior due to their height might wear shoes that make them appear taller or surround themselves with shorter individuals to feel more dominant. The inferiority complex can drive individuals to achieve great success, but it often leaves them feeling unfulfilled, as their achievements are rooted in a need to prove their worth rather than genuine passion or interest. Addressing this complex involves understanding its origins and fostering a sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation. Othello syndrome, the destructive power of jealousy. Othello syndrome, or pathological jealousy, is a delusional disorder where an individual is irrationally convinced that their partner is unfaithful. This complex involves obsessive thoughts and behaviors aimed at monitoring and controlling the partner's activities. Individuals with Othello syndrome may frequently check their partner's messages, question their whereabouts, and restrict their freedom. Named after Shakespeare's Othello, who was driven to murder by unfounded jealousy, this syndrome illustrates the destructive power of mistrust. The constant need for reassurance and proof of fidelity can destroy relationships, leading to isolation and emotional distress. Addressing Othello syndrome requires understanding the underlying insecurities and working towards building trust and communication within the relationship. Superiority complex, masking insecurity. A superiority complex is an unconscious psychological mechanism where an individual exhibits attitudes of superiority to hide their own insecurities and feelings of inferiority. This complex manifests as an exaggerated belief in being better than others, inflated self-esteem, and the conviction that one's opinions, beliefs, or actions are always correct. People with a superiority complex often view others as inferior, using this perception as a defense against their own shortcomings. This complex can lead to social withdrawal and daydreaming as a means of avoiding the fear of failure. The need to constantly assert one's superiority is not just a personal issue, it can affect interpersonal relationships and lead to a lack of empathy and understanding. Recognizing the roots of this complex and insecurity can help in addressing and mitigating its effects, promoting healthier self-esteem and interactions with others. Cinderella complex, the desire to be rescued. The Cinderella complex refers to a woman's unconscious desire to be cared for by others, reflecting a fear of independence and self-sufficiency. Women with this complex often feel incapable of handling adult responsibilities, relying on others for support and decision-making. The term is inspired by the fairy tale of Cinderella, who is rescued from her plight by a prince. This complex can become more pronounced with age, as societal expectations and upbringing reinforce the notion that a woman's role is to be beautiful, polite, and supportive, rather than independent and self-reliant. The Cinderella complex highlights the impact of gender roles and societal conditioning on women's mental health and personal development. Addressing this complex involves challenging these traditional narratives and empowering women to take control of their lives and destinies. Napoleon complex, overcompensation for perceived shortcomings. The Napoleon complex is characterized by aggressive behavior or ambition in individuals of shorter stature, seen as a means of compensating for their perceived lack of height. Named after Napoleon Bonaparte, who, despite being of average height for his time, was often depicted as shorter than his peers. This complex is marked by a need to assert dominance and control. Individuals with a Napoleon complex may exhibit overly ambitious, dominant, or confrontational behavior, aiming to prove their worth and capabilities. This complex raises questions about societal perceptions of physical attributes and their impact on self-esteem and behavior. By understanding and addressing the underlying feelings of inadequacy, individuals can develop healthier ways of asserting themselves and building self-confidence. Hero syndrome, the quest for recognition. Hero syndrome is a psychological phenomenon where individuals seek recognition for acts of heroism to an unhealthy extent, sometimes going as far as to create dangerous situations to resolve them heroically. This complex is driven by a deep need for admiration and validation, often stemming from feelings of inadequacy or a lack of self-worth. While the desire to help others is commendable, the hero syndrome can lead to reckless and manipulative behavior, endangering oneself and others. The pursuit of heroism for the sake of recognition, rather than genuine altruism, highlights the complex interplay between self-esteem and societal validation. Addressing hero syndrome involves fostering a sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation and recognition. Persecution complex, the feeling of being targeted. A persecution complex is characterized by the irrational and persistent belief that one is being persecuted, watched, or conspired against. Individuals with this complex often interpret the actions of others as malicious or hostile, even in the absence of evidence. This complex can lead to social isolation, as the individual's mistrust and suspicion create barriers to healthy relationships. The persecution complex can manifest in varying degrees, from mild paranoia to severe delusions, and may lead to extreme measures, such as avoiding public places or interactions. Understanding the roots of this complex, whether in past experiences or psychological predispositions, is crucial in addressing the fear and anxiety that fuel these beliefs. Guilt complex, the burden of responsibility. The guilt complex involves intense feelings of responsibility and remorse for past actions, perceived as negative, even if there is no rational basis for such guilt. Individuals with a guilt complex may also fear future wrongdoing, leading to excessive self-criticism and anxiety. This complex can be rooted in upbringing, cultural or religious beliefs, or past experiences where the individual was made to feel responsible for events beyond their control. The guilt complex can lead to a cycle of self-blame and low self-esteem, impacting mental health and well-being. Addressing this complex involves understanding the origins of these feelings and developing a balanced perspective on responsibility and accountability. Virgin-Whe complex, the split of love and desire. The Virgin-Whe complex is a psychological phenomenon where an individual feels unable to have a satisfying sexual relationship with someone they love deeply, viewing them as pure and virginal, while only feeling sexual desire towards those they perceive as impure. This complex creates a dichotomy where love and desire are seen as mutually exclusive, making it difficult to integrate both in a single relationship. The Virgin-Whe complex often stems from cultural, religious, or societal beliefs about sexuality and purity, leading to challenges in intimate relationships. Addressing this complex requires exploring and challenging these ingrained beliefs, promoting a healthy and integrated view of love and sexuality. Oedipus complex, the subconscious desire. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, introduced the concept of the Oedipus complex, a psychological theory that suggests during early childhood, typically between the ages of 3 to 6, a child feels a subconscious sexual attraction to the opposite sex parent and harbors jealousy toward the same sex parent, viewing them as a rival. Named after the Greek myth of Oedipus, who unknowingly killed his father and married his mother, this complex is considered a normal stage of psychosexual development. Freud believed that resolving these feelings as children identify more with the same-sex parent is crucial for healthy psychological development. The failure to resolve this complex can lead to neuroses and affect adult relationships. Modern psychology offers various interpretations of Freud's ideas, but the Oedipus complex remains a significant concept in understanding the early emotional and developmental challenges faced by children. Conclusion: unraveling the human psyche. The exploration of these mental complexes offers a window into the diverse and intricate ways in which the human mind operates. Each complex represents a unique pattern of thought and behavior, influenced by personal experiences, cultural narratives, and societal expectations. By understanding these complexes, we gain insight into the human condition, exploring how deeply held beliefs and subconscious fears shape our actions and relationships. This understanding is not just academic, it holds the key to personal growth, healthier relationships, and a more empathetic society. In unraveling the mysteries of these mental complexes, we find the opportunity to better understand ourselves and the complexities of the human psyche, paving the way for healing, transformation, and a more profound connection with others.